Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I've got a balanced rack. It looks close to a bingo. Do I have one? I don't think I do. F is the non-bingo-y tile in the ointment. So, do I wreck the rack? I think I probably do. So, I have fast sin for 30. Is there really no bingo here? Well, let me just change that to Franco. Slightly better rack leave. I'm not seeing a bingo. I am going with this. Well, not a great rack, but 6 of these tiles were random. And I'm glad I kept the I rather than the O. So, no bingo here. However, I will have options. It's fairly balanced. So, I have Yid on my rack. I certainly want to play off a D and a Y. Doi would leave a better rack leave. Franco doesn't take anything. Let me consider the floaters in case I have an 8. The Y would be likely to be at the end. So I have the Phi and if I ending. Nothing with the R. How about the A? No. N. It's not a million miles away from a bingo, but I'm just not seeing one. Not seeing anything with the C. Or the O. I've got the oid ending, but that's not suggesting anything. C only takes an H after it by way of forming a 2-letter word, so Franco inhibits parallel plays. So, 26 for opponent. Can I reach this triple word square without burning the S? Well, I have droid, but that retains the Y. I have soddy. 35 points. Which is a lot more than droid. Droid. 27. So this is 8 more points. It does burn the S. But the rack leave isn't awful. Goes well with floaters in Franco and in Soddy. But let me put this back. Is there really nothing? And it could begin with O or D. D looks more likely. No, I'm not seeing a better play than Soddy. Do I have a double-double through the I? No, so I'm going with this. Soddy for 35. Now, I have the ing ending, but I'm slightly short on vowels. I have tyranning through the A. Will that stay available? Soddy is not. Yes, it will. Fantastic. So, this is going to get me out of jail with a pretty ropey rack. If I place it correctly, and the Y gets tripled. Fantastic. So tyranning, I think training is the anagram. That doesn't get the Y tripled. But tyranning for 70. I'm just pausing because there is this double-double lane, which I haven't considered with IS. So supposing that ended ing, I would have IS with TRYN. Nope, not seeing anything. Oh, wow. Not a great pickup. Unbalanced, only one vowel. But one vowel, a lot better than none. Not too many floating vowels on the board. I have jism in column 11. But that leaves 4 consonants, including 3 T's, so surely there's something better. close to multi-jet, but I would need a U and an I for that. Just 16 for opponent, that's good. So how to sort this rack out? I don't have to play the J off, this is a long way from a bingo. I have missile and mislet. Missile, better placement of vowels. Only 16 points, but it goes a good way to sorting the rack out. Duplicate T, not really a problem. Triplicate T is. Let me just pause and see if I can find something better. I have tittle, keeping JM for only 8 points. I think missile was better than that. Now the play could end IST. Not seeing anything. And I think I really do only need to consider the vowels on the board. So I am going with missile for 16. Well, I'm not close to a bingo, but I do have a good lead, and I have a couple of vowels, so surely this is a rack I can play through. I have jab in column 5. Not much doing on the right-hand side of the board. Win does take an N. Missile, I think, only takes an S. Tyranning doesn't take anything. Cob and cow are good. Does that give me anything other than wit and a bit? Don't think it does. Jaw would be better than jab, but that doesn't play in column 5. The I in tyranning, not very helpfully placed for scoring well. Through an L, I would have wilt jar. L of missile, not quite in the right spot, although I do have will jar without the T. Now, 76-point bingo for opponent. My lead is down to just 1 point. So, what can I do? Well, I do now have somewhere nice for jaw, which is here. For 52 points, that's massive. And I think it's better than anything I could achieve in row O. So, I am going with this. And this doesn't look too bad. From an S, I would have Stibnite. No S's available. Only one has been played. Are there any alternative bingos? I'm not seeing a 7. Where are the floaters? G, E, C, T. Well, nothing is suggesting a bingo. But I should have a decent rack leave after this play. I have bitter in column 12. 18 points. Still both blanks to come, with more than half the bag played. So that's an argument in favour of tile turnover. Now, opponents played just 25 points, that's good. I don't have anything which goes after Apo, so I needn't concern myself with row O. I had seen bitter. I've got bitten on my rack, which does play in column 5, but opening access to triple word squares. Not great, only one N to come, so, and the N is a bingo-y tile, so it's probably better on my rack. Just wondering about playing bite rather than bitter. only one T to come. So this is a pretty handy 3-letter set, and all these E's. If I draw an E, that's going to really help this rack. The downside to this play is the dismal score, only 16 points. What would Bitten have scored? 25, 9 more points. Quite a big sacrifice, but I would be burning both T's and an N with only one of each to come, so I think this play is probably better than Bitten or very similar. I am going with this. So, through an A, I would have Inhumate. Do I have anything with this E? It would have to be in precisely 4th position. Not seeing anything. C and H go well together, but I'm not seeing any CH bingos. My lead is, well, it's not that great. It's only 40 odd points. So I would be behind if opponent bingoed. Column 13 is a lane, beginning with D. So what other floaters do I need to consider? T, not seeing anything. B. No, I have Hutment through the T. Only 24 points, and opening up access to this triple word square, so I'm not a fan of that. I certainly don't need to open the board up, given that I lead. Great, just 22 points for opponent. XO, well, let me first of all consider the floating O. Do I have a bingo? I don't think I do. Had I considered all possible floaters I and Y? I think so. So I have a U and an I for going to the right of the X. My N can go here. So I have Nim for 30. Just wondering if there's a way I can play the U. Still 3 U's to come. What do I have in row N? So I have Minuet. 39 points, which is pretty decent. Although I am creating a bingo lane in row O, it requires a 3-tile overlap. And the other point is I am creating 2 hotspots, row O in the middle and the bottom right-hand corner, one of which I will get first dibs at. So, can I do anything better than Minuet? Let me put this back. Can I get my H tripled? So that would be H something N. Hen, hin, hun. Not seeing a play there. So, is Minuet the play? Minute would also play, but I'd rather avoid putting a vowel next to this premium square. Yes, with 2 blanks to come, I think turning over 6 tiles is good. 39 points is certainly good. I am going with this. And I miss both blanks. So I have scoring tiles, which surely will help me score in one of the hotspots I've created. Or will it? I have Beth in column 15. What about in the middle? That doesn't look so good. I have Huge. Yeah, both of those are reasonable plays, although neither is outstanding. But look at this rack, B, F, G, H and U, pretty ropey. And look at the remaining pool. If you ignore the right-hand side from U to Z, everything else is super bingo-y. So I am expecting to be on the receiving end of a bingo, but am I going to be on the receiving end right now in row O? For R's to come, an ERS bingo cannot play in row O because I are not good. So do I have anything better than Beth? Which isn't going to leave a great Rackley with U and F. Not seeing anything. Apo takes a D, still 2 Ds to come, and it takes an S. Now I've got an S, can I pluralise Exon? Well, not by reaching the triple word square, I don't think. Opponent taking an ominous length of time with this play. Surely they've got one or both blanks. I have Fubsy. Well, that burns the S, so not a great play. But Fub is good. Well, I don't have a Y. I was about to jump onto the possibility of playing Fubby. So 46 points for opponent. Not terrible. I still lead by 15. But my Beth play is going to leave a troublesome rack. Still 2 U's to come. Is this the spot? I think it is. Let me see what this scores. 36 points, that's pretty decent. Compares quite well with the 46 opponent got. Yeah, I am going with this. I do pick up a U, I do miss the blanks. But I think that was the right thing to do. I have Fugu on my rack, I can play that in column 5, which is taking out a bingo lane and not providing helpful floaters. But I've also drawn some of the non-bingo-y tiles, so the remaining non-bingo-y tiles, U, V, Z, the opponent could easily have avoided all of them. And my lead, only 50 points, so I think this is going to be a tight one. This T is a really useful floater. Great, opponent doesn't bingo, takes out the right-hand side of the board. I can now take out the left-hand side of the board. Is this going to be enough to get over the line? 20 points. 10 minutes on my clock, 11 on opponents. Is this the play? I think it's got to be right taking out this T, super useful floater. But also Fugu sorts my rack out. Let me count the remaining vowels. 11 out of 26, slightly vowel dry. Only one A, only one O, so this Rackley better than it otherwise might be. I am going with this. And still no blanks. Well, having said F and U aren't great floaters, with blanks unseen, or with a blank on your rack, they can be more useful. Opponent changes. Wow. So, oh wow, I thought I had rankers. I do, but the U would need to be 1 to the right. Does rankers have an anagram? Does it have an anagram? Rankers? Don't think so. Do I have anything with the F? Don't think so. Any other floaters? There's UT. I think I'm slightly light on vowels, so I'm not seeing anything there. BA. Not seeing anything. So what to do here? What about a play in column 4? So my N would need to begin con, and then I don't have anything. If I started next to the U, yeah, I have narco here, which is quite attractive. Oh, no, it's not. Let me put this back. Well, let me just play narc. 23 points, which is handy. I'm taking out both floaters. I'm creating no new lanes. This board is getting crushed, which means that even if opponent has both blanks, I think this board now has no bingo lanes. There are only 6 tiles to the right of the F. NU isn't massively useful for 9-letter words, nor is BA, nor is KO. Column 7 is an 8-letter lane, but extremely unlikely. Nothing goes in front of KHI. O and I also available, as is row K, but, well, if opponent does find a bingo, good luck to them. But I may even survive a bingo. 23 points is going to take me to 339. 39 and 34, I'll have a 70-point lead after this play. Surely this is the play. Narc for 23. And no blanks. And no E's either. Good grief. So, is opponent going to open a lane? Still U, V and Z, the non-bingo-y tiles, in the unseen pool. What am I going to do with this rack? Pretty grim. No scoring tiles. Not close to a bingo. Is it worth considering the 2-letter sets? NU, no. BA, no. KO, no. So 11 tiles to come. I'd really like to score at least 20 just to keep a space between myself and opponent, and also to be able to survive a bingo should it come down. Oh, wow, and it does. Fantastic spot by opponent. Viricides. 9-letter play, 63 points. I lead by 10. 4 tiles in the bag. So, what to do? The remaining pool includes a P and a Z. They're the good scoring tiles. My lead is only 10. Where can opponents score with the Z so that I can consider whether to block it? Well, I guess Zell's is playable in column 15. That's the most likely with these duplicate tiles. 39 points, that would probably be enough to win. So, should I be playing here? I can play Rids, which keeps a super flexible 4-letter set. Opponent could have Zori, but I can't block both. 15 points would give me a 25-point lead. Well, I might even be able to survive Zori or Zoril. 42 points. But only one O, only one R. If either of those is in the bag, those options go away. I do need to leave one in the bag, because that, if I emptied the bag, opponent could immediately plan an out in 2. If I leave one in the bag, opponent cannot know what their rack is going to be. Is this the play? I'm not going to score any more in this spot. I am taking out the Zell spot, which is the best thing to do. There's no super hot Z spots on the board I need to kill. ZEE isn't a massive spot. I am going with this. And I draw the Z, and I was about to comment if I draw the Z, I would have Zori, and I do indeed have Zori. So, Opponent likely to go in column 8. What can I do with the Z? And is this now my game? So opponents played peril. Opponent trails by 4. It's 4 minutes on my clock. That's not much. I can see opponent's remaining tiles, ELOU. Not great tiles, but it's possible they can go out in 1. So I'm just looking at, well, I haven't seen anywhere for them to go out. Nowl is good, that doesn't quite fit, but I'm short on time, so I think rather than looking for where can opponent go out in 1, I should be looking simply to play off the Z for the biggest possible score. So I could play Coziers in column 8. Cozier, rather. What does this score? That's 18 points. So I would lead by 22. Opponent would get 4 and count back. If opponent can go out with 19 points, they win. I'm not sure they can. However, can I do better than Cozier? So I have Azo here, 30 points. That's probably better. Can I do even better? The spot I was considering was row M. Do I have any ZO plays? I have Azo, but it would be great. I have Zoo, good grief. 40 points. Well, this is all looking much better. Does this give more? 1 more point. 41 points. Is there anything better on offer? I have Zo and Zin. So that's 41. 45. I can't put an S on the end. Double ES, not good. But 45 points, pretty good. And if opponent doesn't go out, I can go out with a rise. I have Perais in row A. I have Caries in column 8. So is Zo the play? Well, it might not be. Hold on one moment. What about playing Razoo? 51 points. Wow, it just keeps on getting better and better. Only 1 minute to go. Is this the play? I think it must be 51 points. Am I going out? I have Pies and I have Nyes in row K. So yes, I think I am going to go with this. And I lead by 55. Opponent's going to need a massive outplay with ELOU, and there just isn't one. So 1 minute on my clock. What's the best I can do with IES? I've got Pies. Only 6. I'm confident there's more on offer. There's Sight here. Let me put that on the board for 15. So SIE, 50 seconds to go. Caddies is good. Yep, not seeing anything better than this. I am going with this. And the final score, 367 to opponent, 424 to me, a winning margin of 57 points. So a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. And what a bingo from opponent, Viriside. Very impressive. So it was me to go first. Phew, no missed bingo here. Farsi playable, holding back the N for Farsin. What do? I play Franco for 30. keeping an eye. I think there's very little between those plays. Opponent plays Kai, and I have Soddy for 35, which I think looks fine. Opponent plays Caddy, and now I have Tyranning and Training. Those are the only bingos, and I now have a bingo's lead. Opponent plays Win, and this was a troublesome rack. Jetty playable, F2. Oh, getting the J tripled. Well, keeping 3 constants, but a decent score. Look at these rack leaves, all pretty problematic. What do? Oh, Missile for 16, so Jetty certainly a better play. And yeah, opponent does find this bingo, not an easy one to see. And it is the only one, and it's enough to bring us to within 1 point of each other. So I played Jaw for 52, which is close to a bingo-y score. Opponent plays Apo, and now my lead is about 30. Phew, no missed bingo here. Nothing great on offer. Bitty A12. Yeah. Well, it's 10 more points. Opening row A doesn't cost me 10 points, but the I and the T are useful floaters for opponent. Still doesn't account for 10 points. But my rack leave of INT is better than N, so if you add all those different factors together, then I think Bite is a reasonable alternative to Bitty. Now, opponent's rack, they play XO, and I have Minuet for 39, so 61 point lead, and here is the first blank. And missed bingo, Vedettes, Televise and Digestive. So E2, Vedettes through this T, difficult one to spot. D7, Televise through the I of Bite. Again, difficult one to spot. Telly, not a great prefix, and it's not a prefix which readily comes to mind. And Egestive through the same tile, so a few missed bingos there. Opponent plays Yvette's. M9. Oh wow, in the Razoo spots, I could have played B-Fog for 45. And the rack leave is pretty good, which goes nicely with this T, so I think B-Fog probably better than Beth, the second choice down here. Nice rack for opponent, slightly vowel heavy, no bingo. Plays Ado, taking out floaters, which is good for me since I do have a slender lead. And I also have a spot for Fugu, which is way down here. Well, I certainly don't like keeping 2 U's, especially with 1 to come. C5, Goaf. Although the score is nice, 28 points. Yeah, I still prefer Fugu, dropping 8 points, splitting up the duplicate U. That duplicate adds an extra -5 points to the leave, so I think overall Fugu is a better play. So here we go, opponent with both blanks, but the rest of the rack not good. Changes, so changed when they had both blanks, wow. Now, this was as close to a bingo as I got, I think, and there is none. M9, Caron again in the Razoo spot, however, I liked Narc because with 2 blanks unseen, I wanted to take out floaters even if they were unpromising. So, opponent changed and it worked out well for them. They've drawn the V, but it's enough to give them a bingo of Virucides and Viticides, also playable. Studying the 9s, well, I guess this isn't really a 9, it's an 8 with an S on the end, so I won't pursue that point. So, I lead by 10. This is my rack. I'm mindful of opponent's scoring potential with the Z, which I'm looking to dampen. Hence, my play of Rids. 01, Road and Apod. Yeah, quite nice, 34. 19 more points. Very difficult to know whether that's worth doing. Opponent doesn't have the Z, but that's not the point. So, looking at what opponent does have, one tile in the bag. No bingo, they play Peril. My lead is just 4 points, but I've drawn the Z. And yes, well, all of this hypergamy, jumping from one word to a better word for an eternity, eventually did end up with Razoo. So that was time well spent. And it's also important to know when to stop looking. And I think with 1 minute left, that probably was a good time to stop looking. So that secured the win. I lead by 55. This is opponent's rack. They do have an out. They have Pool. They have Louis through the Eye of Viricides. They play neither. Play Olay for 17. And finally, Sight for 15 was best. So, what a great game. Absolutely epic stuff with some really gnarly board considerations to bear in mind, not simply a score and rack leave situation. The board was just tight enough that it made sense to block bingo lanes, and I had a slender lead, which I was trying to preserve. That opponent disrupted the plan with Viricides, which was a spectacular spot, and with the Z still to come, it made for a slightly nervy ending, but super exciting stuff. And I think this game a great advertisement for why people who enjoy Scrabble enjoy it. So many thanks to opponent for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game. Like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time.